of us think we're really great people, but in the real world we're not. We're terrible people. You run your life in a very selfish way.
Change everything for the franchise? George Lucas, the creator of Star Wars, recently made a shocking announcement that has sent waves through the fan base. After years of silence and frustration with how Disney has handled the Star Wars franchise, Lucas revealed that he is open to returning to the galaxy far, far away. He hinted that he might be willing to revisit his original vision for Star Wars, including his unproduced ideas for a sequel trilogy that would have expanded on the mystical concept of the Whills and explored the origins of the Force. This revelation has sparked renewed hope among fans who have long wished for a return to the storytelling depth and mythology that Lucas originally envisioned. This announcement coincides with the ongoing controversy surrounding Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian, which revealed cracks in Disney's leadership. Carano's abrupt removal, following her social media posts, sparked backlash from a large portion of the fan base, leading many to believe that Disney was prioritizing political messaging over the core storytelling that made Star Wars a cultural phenomenon. Carano's lawsuit against Disney only adds to the pressure, with some insiders suggesting that it could expose deeper issues within Lucasfilm and Disney's handling of the franchise. These developments have led to increased speculation that Lucas could regain control of Star Wars if Disney were to sell the franchise, with reports suggesting that Lucas's ideas for the franchise could be the solution to reconnect with fans and restore the heart of Star Wars that has been lost under corporate-driven decisions. Could George Lucas's return and his vision for Star Wars finally save the franchise from its divisive recent years? Fans are eager to find out, and many are hoping that Disney will listen to the voice of the man who built the galaxy far, far away in the first place. On the mystical Whills and the deeper origins of the Force was abandoned in favor of what many fans have criticized as a nostalgia-driven, commercial-focused approach. Lucas had a grand vision for Star Wars, one that would explore the philosophical and spiritual aspects of the Force, while deepening the mythology that had made the franchise a cultural phenomenon. Instead, under Disney's leadership, the franchise took a turn that left fans divided, with many feeling that the soul of Star Wars was lost in the process. This frustration culminated in Lucas's famous "white slavers" comment, which many interpret as a pointed critique of Disney's handling of his creation. Lucas felt that his ideas were disregarded in favor of a more financially-driven strategy, and this sense of loss has only deepened with the controversies surrounding the sequels, the firing of Gina Carano, and Disney's overall treatment of the Star Wars legacy. Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian remains one of the most polarizing decisions in recent Star Wars history, drawing attention not just to her own situation, but to the broader issues within Lucasfilm and Disney. Carano's controversial removal, following her social media posts, sparked outrage among fans, with many accusing Disney of prioritizing political correctness over storytelling. Her legal battle against Disney has further revealed the internal conflicts at Lucasfilm, exposing cracks in the Disney-run empire and casting doubt on the company's ability to return Star Wars to its former glory. Could George Lucas's frustrations and Carano's lawsuit be the turning point that leads to a significant change in the way Star Wars is handled? Some believe that Lucas's return to the franchise, armed with his original vision and ideas, could be the way forward. However, the question remains: can Lucasfilm and Disney acknowledge their mistakes, and will they be willing to return to the storytelling roots that made Star Wars an enduring cultural touchstone? Fans are watching closely, hoping that Lucas's vision can still guide the future of the galaxy far, far away. Kathleen Kennedy's tenure at the helm of Lucasfilm has certainly been divisive. While she has earned praise for her bold approach to expanding the Star Wars universe, her leadership has also drawn significant criticism. Fans have expressed frustration over the way iconic characters like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia Organa were handled in the sequel trilogy, particularly in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. These characters, beloved by fans for decades, were either sidelined or portrayed in ways that many felt betrayed their core values and development. In contrast, the newer characters, like Rey, Finn, and Poe, were often seen as lacking the depth and relatability that made the original trio so enduring. One of the key points of contention has been Kennedy's focus on modern political and social themes, sometimes at the expense of storytelling. The emphasis on diversity, while important, has led some to believe that storytelling was sacrificed in favor of what they viewed as agenda-driven narratives. Under Kennedy's leadership, some creative decisions, including the treatment of legacy characters and the direction of the sequel trilogy, left many fans questioning whether Lucasfilm was truly honoring the spirit of Star Wars. Additionally, rumors have circulated about the internal dynamics at Lucasfilm. Reports of creative clashes, cancelled projects, and Kennedy's reportedly tight grip on decision-making have created an atmosphere of uncertainty within the company. These tensions have fueled speculation about the future of Star Wars and whether Kennedy's approach is sustainable in the long term. Lucas's recent comments, expressing regret over the loss of the heart of Star Wars, seem to reflect a frustration not just with the direction of the franchise, but with the management style that has guided it since Disney's acquisition. His decision to walk away from the creative reins and his recent announcement that he may return to influence the future of the franchise has sparked renewed interest in his original vision. For many fans, Lucas's return could represent a chance to restore Star Wars to its roots, focusing on the storytelling and mythology that made it a cultural phenomenon in the first place.
Commercial approach.
George Lucas's frustration with the current direction of Star Wars seems to be growing clearer with each passing statement. As some insiders have reported, Lucas has privately voiced his concerns about the decisions made under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership. While he has been careful not to publicly criticize her directly, it's evident that he feels the franchise has strayed far from his original vision. His announcement about the Wills, a concept he once envisioned to explore the origins of the Force and its deeper mythology, only underscores the dissatisfaction he has with how Star Wars has evolved since Disney took over. The idea of the Wills was central to Lucas's planned sequel trilogy, offering a more philosophical and expansive look at the Star Wars universe. Yet, when Disney took the reins, many of these ideas were reportedly sidelined in favor of more commercial storytelling decisions. Fans have long speculated that Lucas's vision, had it been followed, would have provided a much more nuanced and intricate continuation of the Star Wars saga. Instead, what followed was a trilogy that many felt lacked cohesion and left audiences divided. Lucas's comments seem to highlight a sense of loss, not just of control over his creation, but also of the creative integrity that made Star Wars a groundbreaking cultural phenomenon. The message is clear. The Star Wars of today doesn't align with the legacy he built. Whether or not Lucas will return to Star Wars in a more direct role remains uncertain, but his willingness to critique the franchise's current trajectory may signal that a return to his original storytelling vision is still a possibility that many fans are hoping for. When Disney first announced a new Star Wars trilogy, fans were filled with excitement, hoping for a fresh take on the beloved franchise. The release of The Force Awakens seemed to promise just that, breaking box office records and reigniting interest in Star Wars. However, some critics felt that it played it too safe, relying heavily on nostalgia rather than forging a bold new path. Then came The Last Jedi, a film that completely polarized the fan base. The characterization of Luke Skywalker, in particular, created a rift, with many fans feeling that the beloved hero had been radically altered. Mark Hamill himself admitted that the portrayal of Luke was far from what he had envisioned. By the time The Rise of Skywalker hit theaters, it was clear that the trilogy lacked a unified vision. Critics noted its disjointed storytelling, and fans were left questioning if there had ever been a concrete plan for the trilogy in the first place. George Lucas's frustration with the trilogy is well documented. His original ideas for the sequel trilogy centered around the concept of the Wills. A deeper exploration of the Force and the origins of the Star Wars mythos would have taken the saga in a bold new direction. Lucas wanted to expand the universe and delve into its spiritual and philosophical aspects. However, according to reports, Disney chose a different path, one that Lucas himself described as a missed opportunity. Instead of exploring these rich, intricate ideas, the trilogy took a more conventional, commercially driven approach, which left many fans longing for the creative depth Lucas had originally envisioned.
I was interested in doing a film that could affect kids, and I'd studied mythology and everything, and I decided I'm going to make a modern myth.
Fired from The Mandalorian, sparking one of the most polarizing moments in recent Star Wars history. Lucasfilm described her removal as a decision based on values, but to many fans, it seemed like a politically motivated move that deeply alienated a large portion of the fanbase. Gina Carano, who portrayed Cara Dune, had become one of the most beloved actors on the show due to her portrayal of a strong and independent character, and her sudden firing after her controversial social media posts led to widespread backlash. For many, Carano's firing wasn't just about one actress or her personal views. It symbolized a larger issue of political correctness creeping into the Star Wars franchise, overshadowing the heart of storytelling that had made the universe so beloved in the first place. Fans felt that instead of focusing on the compelling narratives and characters that originally made Star Wars resonate, Lucasfilm was prioritizing social and political agendas that divided audiences. Now, with Lucas's recent comments about potentially reviving his original ideas for Star Wars, fans are left wondering whether his vision could have prevented such divisions. Would his focus on exploring the deeper aspects of the Force and telling a story that remained true to the core values of Star Wars have kept the fanbase united? Many believe that Lucas's return could offer a chance to restore what made the franchise great and move away from the controversies and missteps that have plagued its recent years under Disney's stewardship. Gina Carano's firing from The Mandalorian after her controversial social media posts has become a flashpoint for fans, with many questioning the internal dynamics at Lucasfilm. The backlash was swift, with fans feeling that the decision was politically motivated and alienated a large portion of the fanbase. A crew member reportedly said that Carano's firing felt like a slap in the face to viewers who had connected with her character, Cara Dune, in a way few others had. She represented strength and independence, and her sudden removal left a void that many fans felt was reflective of larger issues with how Star Wars was being handled. Now, with rumors circulating that Carano may have won a lawsuit against Lucasfilm, the controversy is reigniting. Fans are questioning whether there were deeper issues at play behind the scenes, and many speculate that George Lucas's recent comments about potentially revisiting his original vision for Star Wars are tied to frustrations with how the franchise has been mishandled under Disney's leadership. Lucas's discontent with recent decisions could well stem from moments like Carano's firing, where cultural and creative choices seem to have overshadowed the core of storytelling. Fans who feel disconnected from Disney's direction are wondering if Lucas's return could address these grievances and restore Star Wars to its roots. Could Carano's legal battle and the resulting fan outrage expose deeper issues at Lucasfilm and strengthen the case for a major overhaul at the top? With Lucas speaking out, it certainly seems that there is a growing movement for change, and the future of the franchise might depend on whether those in charge are willing to listen.
My life was going on a different track. I noticed the last few movies that I'd made were costing the company a lot of money, and I didn't think that was fair to the people that worked there or the company, and so I had made a decision to move ahead on the next Star Wars series, and we were starting to do that.
When Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4 billion in 2012, it seemed like a brilliant business move, especially with the Star Wars brand's immense potential. However, as the years have gone by, cracks in the once unbreakable empire are becoming more apparent. Merchandise sales, which have long been a cornerstone of Star Wars profitability, have significantly dropped. Toys featuring newer characters from Disney's era, such as those from the sequel trilogy and spin-off shows, are often left unsold, gathering dust on store shelves. This stark decline in merchandise sales is troubling, especially given the prominence Star Wars once held as a toy market giant. Disney Plus was initially seen as a lifeline, offering a platform for Star Wars series like The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett. However, reports of billion-dollar losses in streaming have cast a shadow on the sustainability of this platform, which has faced a decline in both subscribers and engagement. Despite these struggles, Disney has continued to pour money into the franchise, but questions linger about whether the investment is paying off. These financial and strategic challenges have sparked rumors that Bob Iger might be considering selling the Star Wars franchise, a move that would have seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. Some insiders have suggested that major tech companies like Apple or Amazon could be interested buyers, but the potential sale raises significant questions. What would that mean for the future of Star Wars? Would the franchise find itself in new hands that could breathe fresh life into it? Or would the corporate motives of another tech giant overshadow the storytelling and legacy of George Lucas? The possibility of a Star Wars sale, whether as part of Disney's ongoing re-evaluation or due to external factors, could signal the beginning of a major shift for the franchise. The legacy of Star Wars is undoubtedly immense, but how it evolves in the coming years may depend on who ultimately holds the reins. Understand Star Wars in a way that no one else at Disney seems to. The success of The Mandalorian has shown that there is still an audience eager for stories that respect the foundational elements of the franchise. Favreau and Filoni have managed to bring a sense of unity to a fan base that has become increasingly divided over the years, particularly after the mixed reception of the sequel trilogy and other projects like The Book of Boba Fett. For many fans, The Mandalorian has served as a reminder of what made Star Wars special: the rich lore, well-developed characters, and a sense of adventure that evokes the magic of the original trilogy. Under Favreau and Filoni's leadership, the series has managed to reignite the Star Wars spark, drawing on the mythology George Lucas created while expanding it in a way that feels fresh, but true to its roots. Lucas's recent announcement, which has fueled speculation about his potential involvement in a Star Wars revival, has many fans excited. Could his original ideas for the Wills, a concept that explores the Force at a deeper, more philosophical level, be the key to rebuilding the franchise's foundation? The Wills are often seen as a potential blueprint for the future, a way to explore the spiritual and mystical aspects of the Force that Lucas always envisioned, before his ideas were set aside in favor of a more commercially driven approach. If Disney does indeed decide to sell Star Wars, It might be seen as their way of cutting their losses, according to some financial analysts. But for fans, the potential return of Lucas in some capacity could be the best thing that ever happened to the franchise. Lucas's vision, once sidelined by Disney's corporate direction, could offer the opportunity for Star Wars to return to its roots, focusing on the timeless themes of hope, morality, and the battle between good and evil. The combination of Lucas's potential involvement and the direction Favreau and Filoni have taken with The Mandalorian could be just what Star Wars needs to reconnect with the heart of its fan base and secure its legacy for years to come. Inspire them to take Star Wars in a bold new direction? Some fans believe that Favreau and Filoni's success with The Mandalorian might be rooted in Lucas's original approach to storytelling, an approach that emphasizes mythology, deeper philosophical themes, and a sense of wonder. While shows like The Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi failed to capture the magic of Star Wars, often criticized for feeling rushed or relying too heavily on nostalgia without offering anything fresh or meaningful, The Mandalorian found a way to strike a balance. Favreau and Filoni managed to respect the established Star Wars lore while expanding the universe in a way that felt authentic and new. Their understanding of the core elements of Star Wars, such as the hero's journey, the battle between good and evil, and the importance of hope, has resonated with fans in a way that other recent projects haven't. Lucas's hint at revisiting the Wills, a concept that delves into the deeper spiritual and metaphysical elements of the Force, could offer a pathway forward for the franchise. His original ideas for exploring the origins of the Force and the Wills could provide a fresh and rich narrative direction that honors the themes that made Star Wars special in the first place. If Favreau and Filoni were to take inspiration from these ideas, it could signal a new chapter for Star Wars, one that takes the franchise back to its roots while pushing its storytelling into bold new territories. Could the Wills be the key to revitalizing the Star Wars universe and uniting fans once again? Many hope so, as they look for a way to recapture the heart and spirit of the galaxy far, far away. Sequel trilogy ideas, focusing on the Wills, a mystical and philosophical concept that delves deeper into the Force. This revelation has sparked a wave of excitement and speculation among Star Wars fans. Lucas's original vision for the sequel trilogy was said to explore the origins of the Force, diving into its deeper spiritual implications rather than focusing on nostalgia or commercially driven plotlines. Lucas's willingness to step back into the Star Wars universe, should the right circumstances arise, has many fans wondering if a potential sale of the franchise could mark a new chapter for the galaxy far, far away. If Disney were to sell Star Wars to a new owner, could Lucas return to play a major role in guiding the creative direction of the franchise? The idea of Lucas returning to the helm, especially with his Wills concept, would undoubtedly be a major shift in the current Star Wars landscape. Lucas has often expressed his disappointment with how his original vision was sidelined after he sold the franchise to Disney, particularly with the sequel trilogy. He has been vocal about how he felt his ideas were dismissed in favor of more commercially driven decisions. But his recent comments suggest he still holds a deep passion for the saga and that he's open to returning to guide Star Wars back to its roots, if given the chance. For many fans, the possibility of Lucas reviving his original ideas is a source of hope, as they believe his vision could restore the heart of Star Wars. The question remains, will Disney recognize the opportunity and listen to Lucas's ideas, or will the franchise continue to move in a direction that alienates longtime fans? Either way, with rumors of a potential sale and Lucas's renewed interest, it's clear that the future of Star Wars could be entering an exciting new phase. Comments about reviving his original ideas have reignited that curiosity. The Wills, which Lucas had planned to be a central element in his sequel trilogy, would have explored the deeper, more spiritual aspects of the Force, examining its origins and its philosophical significance beyond what we've seen in the films so far. According to sources close to Lucas, he believes that if he had been allowed to bring his vision to the screen, the franchise would have been in a much different, and potentially better, place. Lucas's comments reflect his ongoing frustration with how the Star Wars franchise has evolved under Disney's stewardship, which he believes lost the essence of the series' original themes of hope, mythology, and the eternal battle between good and evil. He has expressed that somewhere along the way, Star Wars became more about corporate interests and less about the heart of the story he originally envisioned. The Wills would have brought a fresh, philosophical layer to the saga, perhaps reviving the very elements that made the original trilogy resonate with so many fans. Now, with rumors swirling about Disney potentially selling Star Wars, many are wondering if Lucas could reclaim creative control and steer the franchise back toward its roots. If the right circumstances arise, Lucas has hinted that he might be willing to return, potentially revitalizing the saga with his original ideas. If a new owner were to take over the franchise, there could be an opportunity to revisit Lucas's plans, potentially giving fans the chance to see the Star Wars they've always dreamed of. The question remains, could Lucas's Wills trilogy, with its deep exploration of the Force and its focus on mythological storytelling, be the key to saving Star Wars from its current struggles? Fans are hopeful that this new chapter, whether it's through a potential sale or a creative shift, could bring Star Wars back to the heart of what made it the cultural phenomenon it is today. Wars exists in the first place. The growing sentiment among fans is that the heart and soul of Star Wars was lost somewhere along the way, and Lucas's return to his original vision might be the only way to restore it. Favreau and Filoni's success with The Mandalorian has only further emphasized the importance of honoring the original lore and respecting what made the franchise special in the first place. Fans appreciate their approach because it carefully walks the line between nostalgia and innovation, staying true to the core elements that Lucas created while still introducing fresh ideas. Lucas's willingness to potentially step back in and guide the franchise toward his vision of the Wills has ignited a new wave of optimism. If Lucas were given the opportunity to revive his original ideas, many believe it could serve as the turning point Star Wars needs to regain its former glory. Fans want stories that explore the deeper, philosophical aspects of the Force, and they want to see beloved characters treated with the respect and depth they deserve. The question now is whether Disney will listen to the fans and realize that Lucas's involvement, whether in a creative or advisory capacity, could be the key to saving Star Wars from its ongoing struggles. If the franchise is sold to a new owner, will they be open to working with Lucas to restore the mythology and focus on the timeless themes that made Star Wars so powerful in the first place? For many, this announcement from Lucas may be the first sign that Star Wars can, indeed, return to its roots, and that the galaxy far, far away still has a bright future ahead. This is a compelling conclusion to the discussion about the future of Star Wars. With Lucas's recent comments stirring the pot and suggesting that he could still play a key role in the franchise's revival, fans are left wondering if this could be the turning point they've been hoping for. The franchise is undeniably at a crossroads, with Disney's corporate approach to Star Wars often seeming at odds with the storytelling that made it iconic in the first place. As Kathleen Kennedy's rumored departure looms and the possibility of Bob Iger considering the sale of the franchise increases, it seems the future of Star Wars could be in flux. For many fans, Lucas returning to guide Star Wars in a direction closer to his original vision, including revisiting concepts like the Wills, could be the lifeline the franchise needs. Whether Disney seizes this opportunity or continues to push forward with its own corporate-driven strategy will likely determine the fate of Star Wars for years to come. It's clear that fans are vocal in their desire to see the core elements of what made the franchise great restored, and Lucas's involvement could potentially provide that spark. Ultimately, the question remains, should Lucas reclaim creative control to preserve the heart of Star Wars, or is it time for new leadership to take the reins and try a fresh direction? Only time will tell. For now, fans are watching closely, hoping that Star Wars will return to the roots that made it the cultural phenomenon it once was. Let me know if you'd like to dive deeper into any aspect of this.